Okay, welcome everybody. My name's Eman. I'm the host of the Purposeful Patriarchs YouTube channel. Please, if you can, help a brother out by subscribing, by liking the video or disliking the video. Just have some engagement. Drop a comment. It will be greatly appreciated. We're going to continue reacting to this episode on the No Pics podcast. Shout out to them. And asking the question, are black women or black men creating the baby mama / baby daddy crisis? So I will continue playing this.
All right. So thoughts on what Ogre had to say. It was a lot. So if you want to, break it down piece by piece, it's up to you. However you want to address it, go ahead. Do you think?
So my first thought was, well, first of all, I feel like that statistic that she used in the beginning was completely unnecessary. Because from what I understand, that statistic is very wrong. I believe the numbers are.
Yeah, black women don't like it when the statistics are not in their favor, and we're gonna see. And this is why I say, like, when this conversation has happened, you see that black women have a different perspective to black men, and from some of the videos that I've also watched about the culture around Black Americans, and I think Dr. Tierson Johnson in his book, where's his book? Is it this one? Yeah, in his book, Solutions for Anti-Black Misandry, there are a lot of advantages that are given to black women over black men, and this means that black women live in a different America than black men do, and she says the statistics are wrong. I'm catching her thing now. But the statistics are wrong. That's what she's saying, but we'll see, and some of it can be explained because it depends on the particular sample size. But let me see if I can, because there are so as I said on the previous episode, the two biggest demographics in Black America are single mothers at 61% and childless black men at 54%, and that is when you look at those, that's the total population statistics. Then there are other statistics where they look at the statistics between 15 to 49.
Well, first of all, the numbers are correct, but the population she's pulling from is what's kind of jarring to me, because that 80%, 87% that she talked about, that's for black women that's over the age of 40. And that 57% is for black men between the ages of 15 and 39. So it's kind of like, that wasn't a necessary statistic, because, like, what are you using that for? And I think actually once we're evening them out and putting them on the same playing field, black men and women between the ages of 40 plus and whatever, I think it's 87% black women versus that 81% of black men. So it's not a huge gap. I do though think that a lot of women are having babies by the same small pool of men.
Right.
But whether that small pool of men are ain't shit niggas versus top tier men, that's what I would kind of want to know more. I don't know what it is though, but I do think that we do tend to have babies by the same men.
Right. So all right. So I'm a lean the opposite way. I'm a figure out of her being more accurate than not, because according to CDC data, all right, 54% of black men, regardless of age, adult black men have kids. So 87% have kids. There's a question mark here. Like 80% of black dudes don't have kids, and how are they getting pregnant?
And that's the question that a lot of black women don't want to answer. And I'll give you what the answer is. So what is happening in Black America, and I'll probably have to go into more depth because it's a very big lie that black women are putting out, and they're trying to push this onto black men. But what is happening is that a lot of black women are having sex with other men from other races, and those men are giving them babies. So this is your Hispanics and also your white men who are impregnating your black women. Because what they have found is that there are 1.2 million more black children born to black women than black men. Okay, and I will talk about the marriage statistics. So in terms of because I think what she was saying was right in terms of comparing apples for apples and oranges for oranges. So I'm using the total population statistics. So 61% of black women are single mothers, and only and the majority, or 54% of black men, are single and childless. They do not have any children. So you have this massive delta between where are all these children coming from, and that's where other races start to account for them impregnating black women. But black women will lie about this and try and push that blame onto black men, because it is a trope that has been reinforced through media, through through movies and all these sorts of different things. Okay, and then in terms of the other statistics, which are also quite important, there are over 2 million more black women compared to black men. But somehow, and this is the statistic that made me realize, and this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this content and calling this channel Purposeful Patriarchs, is that there are 1 million more black men married than black women. Okay, and then the other statistic is that black women are the least married, okay, amongst all demographics in America. And one of the reasons why that is because most of them are mothers by the age of 20. Most of them are mothers by 22 years old. Okay, but then black women also have they initiate divorce the most in terms of the ones who are married. Okay, and that's at 80%. So 27% of black women will get married, but out of that 27%, 80% of them will initiate divorce. Okay, so this is why black men are not getting involved with black women, because they're the least married in terms of their behavior, in terms of their attitude, in terms of their ideology and their behavior. But then also as well, when they do get married, the small portion of them that do get married, 80% of them will initiate divorce. Okay, and this is what is causing the issues in terms of the economic challenges, the educational attainment, the well-being of black women, the well-being of black men, because we're simply not building families. We're having babies, they're having children, but they're not building families. And this is why it's a lie when black women will say that they don't want to get married. If you don't want to get married, why are you having children? Why are you bringing children into the world when the best or the greatest probability of your children thriving is when they are in a two-parent household that is bound by marriage? So these are all questions that everybody has to wrestle with and answer. And this is why I'm, in every way, shape or form, I want to continue to promote marriage, but I also want black women to actually look and be accountable for the fact that they're not upholding their part of the bargain. Because if black men are seeing that black women are not the wives, they have also disengaged by making sure that they are not creating babies and putting babies into the world so that those children are disadvantaged. Black men are saying, no, we know that doesn't work, so we're not going to add any more children to the population of disadvantaged children. But black women don't care. They don't care whether the guy is rich, poor, broke, whatever it is, what his ethnicity is, but they simply do not practice marriage. And this is something that E. Franklin Frazier discussed in his book, The Negro Family in the United States. And I will pull up some of those particular quotes, and I will share those with you. Let me see if I can find them while we continue listening to this.
I have more information to back that up on, right? Don't just take my word for it, all right? So I'm gonna play something else, right? So in the beginning of the podcast, in the very, very beginning, maybe about 2 years ago, me and Joe did a podcast on this, in which a different YouTube channel looked at the numbers of black men versus black women having kids, and how black men get a bad rap for being bad dads, right? So let me play that real quick, and then we get, you know, make more points about it. All right, here we go.
What we know now about Black fatherhood. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recently confirmed that 54% of Black men have never fathered children. Only 46% of Black men have ever fathered children. 72.7% of Black fathers talk with their children about things that happen during the day, several times a week or more, whether they live with their children or not. 58% of Black fathers live with one or more of their children. And BlackDemographics.com also reported that 66% of Black men live with their partners at their first child's birth, either married or cohabitating. So instead of taking the highest number, which is 72.7% of Black father involvement, I'll be fair and use the average of all three involvement categories. The average is 77%, 66%, and 58% is 65.5%. If only 46% of Black men have ever fathered children, and 65% are in their children's lives, then that means that 30.1% of Black fathers are active and present in their children's lives, whether married or cohabitating. 54% of Black men have never fathered children. If you add that with 30.1% of the Black fathers who are active in their children's lives, that equals 84.1% of Black men have never fathered children or are in their children's lives. That leaves approximately 15.9% of Black men who potentially be deadbeat or subpar fathers. Black men, I want you to take this information, celebrate it, and spread it as much as possible. This is the only way that you will be able to protect Black male and get the harmful stereotype and or narrative that Black men are simply deadbeat fathers, because it's not true.
It's not true. It's not true. And this is why I talk about truth and honesty on this YouTube channel. We're looking for sources that are not trying to give us myths, narratives and fables, but they're trying to give us the truth. And even if that truth is an uncomfortable truth, we cannot move forward, or we cannot begin to make changes in the Black community if we're still holding on to the tropes of Black men not being in their fathers' lives or having the majority of children. We have to hold accountable those that are actually lying about this matter and actually putting incorrect blame. And this is why it's important for us as Black men to control our ethnic image. So let's see what they have to say before we finish this.
All right. So with that being said, I mean, we did a podcast on this a while back. I didn't prepare for this. I wanted to pull that up because I remember that we did this. So basically what he's saying is it's like 15% of dudes impregnating the majority of Black women, right? So you got 54% of Black women, of Black men who don't have kids, who've never had kids in their entire life. And if you look at
yeah, she doesn't believe the statistic. That's why she made that she made that funny face, because Keishas are always defending Keishas, like and this is what needs to stop, because they've heard this so long. And this is why I play those clips from 1968 where they were discussing the matriarch, the Black matriarchal figure that has dominated the Black community because of the system of white supremacy, that has reinforced itself. Stealing another quote from the Moynihan report, this has reinforced itself over the centuries. And then obviously in the 1965, what you see is that it also reinforces itself again when it comes to welfare, child support, sexual liberation, feminism, civil rights, because they inserted they inserted sex into civil rights, and this is what took away the equal opportunities that were supposed to be given to Black men, and it was eventually given to white women and to Black women. But yeah, again, this thing is such a tangled web. And yeah, it's crazy.
Numbers wise, that's statistically accurate, because most men, regardless of race, don't procreate. Like of all races, white men, Black men, Asian men, whatever. Like the majority don't procreate at all. Like they never pass down their, and they may end up raising some kid that turns out not to be theirs. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they don't have a kid in their under their wing that they're providing for in some way, but throughout history, most men have not passed down their genes to the next generation. It's typically, a smaller subset of men who ends up passing down their genes, right? In our community, in the Black community, it's even, it's exaggerated, right? So it's like, so you got 54% of Black men who've never had kids, as the guy mentioned, right? You got 54% of Black men who've never had kids, right? Some of them niggas is stepdads. Like some of them niggas just go out there and raise other dudes' kids, right? And the 30% who do have kids, like myself, and who are present and a part of their kids' lives, right? Regardless if they're married or not, if they're cohabitating or they just see their kids at a time. So from what the CDC says, like, okay, cool, Black men are involved in their kids' lives. That leaves practically like 50. He said like 14.9% of men they're out here.
Yeah, 15.9%. 15.9% of men who are procreating with the majority of those Black women, which is absurd. It's the worst in the Black community. That's why you see all of these kids running around, all these YNs in the ghettos, in these inner cities, causing all manner of havoc. But yeah, let me leave this one here. Thank you all for joining me. Shout out to the No Pics podcast for defending the black male image. And again, Black women just simply, they can't defeat the stats and they don't believe the stats. And this is why they keep perpetuating this myth of deadbeats. But I will talk about Black patriarchy and the fact that there was no Black patriarchy in the Black community. No one knows how to define it because it was never there. And I've spoken about the system of white supremacy that took out the strong father figure, and I'll keep on harping on about that because that is essentially the fundamental cause. And I still believe that that's still being perpetuated today. And I've done episodes where I've shown things like banks and institutions who are paying Black women to be independent. So, but they don't do that for Black men. So please drop a like, comment, share with the man because we in the Black British community, we don't want to follow this pattern that is in America. We want to build healthy men and healthy husbands and healthy fathers, and if that means marrying interracially and going abroad, then do that, because a wife is supposed to be someone that you build with and together for the betterment of future generations. God bless, grace and peace.